Hey, good to see you. Oh, and by the way, thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for always being here to watch my videos. By the way, today we are talking about how to turn your 10,000 Kenyan shillings. That's, by the way, is less than $1. Actually, $100 to be specific, to a whooping 100,000 Kenyan shillings. How exactly can you do that? And perhaps you're watching this video from outside the Kenya and you're like, this information can actually be used not only in Kenyan shillings, but whichever the money. Get the formula, get applied to it, and be able to get that amount of money. And by the way, I've noticed that some of you guys are watching my videos without actually subscribing. That might be you. I don't have that. I do have that feeling. Maybe that might be you. Okay. All right. But they do this. Down below there is a small button written subscribe. It is in black. It's a small button. Hit that magical button and also like this video. It's like telling me, hey, Joseph, thank you for your great work. That is exactly what we do here, right? Because I usually upload a video each and every day talking about money investment. Let's get the business. Okay. Now here you are. You have yourself 10,000 Kenyan shillings. Okay. This is like sort of like $75 or something or sort, $75 something or sort. Anyway, give or take, depends on the exchange rate, wherever you're watching this video from now. What exactly can you use with this money and transform it and get 100,000 Kenyan shillings? 100,000 Kenyan shillings. This is like 750, a US dollar. In short, I'm saying, hey, how can you 10x this? How can you 10x this 10K? All right, that is the formula. And again, one thing that you're supposed to understand, there are only two ways on how you can approach this. Two ways, all right? It's either you go the business way, you go the business way, all right? Or B, you go what we call the investment way, all right? Investment way. Okay, now, these are the two vehicles that will take you to 10x your 10K. Okay, now, the question is this. What do I do? What do I start to gain if I go the business route or when I go the investment route? This is what you're supposed to understand. If you choose to use the business vehicle to 10x your 10K, then that means that this is the first method. This is the what? The first method. This is the first method. I mean, seriously, like in terms of time, this is what you can actually use to 10x your amount for you to actually reach that specific goal. Maybe your target is not 100K, maybe it's a million bob. Apply this formula. On the business now, if you decide to use the business vehicle, this is what we call the slower method, okay? The slower method. And you have to understand one thing. As much as it is a faster method, it has its own what we call the what? The risks. So therefore, you have to be a what? If you are sort of a risk-averted person or something, you have to understand the higher the returns, also the what? The higher the risks. On the investments method, we say this one has what? Low risks. You see, I didn't say no risks. I said low risks. There's nothing that is risk-free on earth, by the way, even our lives. If I ask you tomorrow morning, will you be there? You're not sure about that, okay? So what we do is that we live by faith and not by the sight. That's what the Bible says. And by the way, I'm not preaching. Let's get the business. Now, let's go to the actual thing. How can you 10x this amount of money? Okay, let's start with the investment method. Investment method is where you keep the money and money works for you. You do nothing about it, okay? Now, this is what you do. For example, pick something like an MMF, right? Pick an MMF. Yeah, I know you're like, okay, Joseph, MMF again. Yes, MMF again. It's a good thing, money market fund. And by the way, if you don't know what is money market fund, go check my other videos. I've discussed all information about MMF, okay? Now, if you pick an MMF that is giving you, say, some MMF right now, they are at around 14%. In Kenya, let's say they get the 4%, like due to taxes and what have you, they leave with you with a clean 10%. So if they leave you with a clean 10%, you take your initial 10K that you have out there and be able to channel it towards that specific account of an MMF where they're giving you a flat rate of 10%. That means that at the end of the year, that is the year one, you'll be able to get your clean 1,000 bob. All right. So it means at the end of the year one, you'll have yourself 11,000. Okay. Now the year two, now this is the year two. The year two, assuming that you do nothing about it, of which I don't advise anyway. So assuming you do nothing about this money, just rest there. So the year two, it will be the 10% of 11,000. The 10% of 11,000, it will be 1,110. Okay. Now, meaning the year two, you'll have yourself the 11,000, all right? 11,000 minus 1,110, meaning you'll have what? You'll have this amount of money. Okay, now, that is the year two. You go to the year three, the year four. But now the point is, obviously you are seeing where it is heading. You can go all the way to 10 years for you to get actually your what? You are 100,000 or to 10x your money. But guess what is happening here? You're doing nothing about that money. It's actually generating by yourself or by itself, okay? You're doing nothing. The money just come in, you plow back because it's how it has what we call the compounding effect of that amount of money. Therefore, this can go up to 10 years for you to do that or for you to actually to 10x your money. And maybe I know, hey, you're like, hey, Wow, unless maybe I view it from a point of maybe it's a long-term investment. Yeah, it should be. Investment most of the time is usually a what? A long-term investment. I know this may not go to up to 10 years because of the compounding effect. Maybe may hang around at around maybe 10 or 9th year around there where you can actually, or maybe 9 point something years, that's where you actually get your 10x of that amount of money. Just take that 10K, you sort of quote unquote bury it somewhere and then you forget about it. If you're watching this from Kenya, you can just imagine this today. Maybe just say 10 years will be 2032 when then the current president will be getting out, assuming that will be re-elected. Okay, so you get your 100 Gs. Okay, maybe you can view it as a vehicle of what? Of a retirement benefit or something of sort. And again, there is another way of approaching this using the investment method. Now, this is quite an improved one. Okay, now instead of actually taking that 10K and put it in an account whereby you don't add nothing into it, how about you do this? You put the 10K into an investment. You put the 10K into an investment. All right. Once you put that 10K into an investment, guess what happens? Now you say, hey, instead of just letting that amount of money stay there by itself, how about you keep adding something like 1,200 per month? You keep adding 1,200 per month. So if you keep adding 1,200 per month, see 1,200 per month. So if you were to take 1,200, divide by 30, that gives you like 40 bob. That's like 40 shillings each and every day. So if you can get like a 40 shillings, you put it somewhere, you put it somewhere, you put it somewhere. By the way, you usually have these phones that Kenyans usually buy. They are called like, you pay in a slow method or something. I know it's kind of weird doing, you get a phone from a certain dealer. And then that phone is sort of configured or something of sort that you pay with a certain installment. And then you keep on paying each and every day. If you can commit yourself towards paying a phone for the next 18 months, that's like 1.5 years. How about you commit yourself and assume, quote unquote, like you have a phone that you're paying for 40 shillings. Depends on the type of thing that you're having. Now, so if you commit 40 shillings each and every day, guess what you'll have at the end of the month? 1,200. Now, 1,200, you keep on channeling that. Oh, by the way, if you go to, for those guys who usually have a problem with calculating the compounding effect, go to the Google and search compounding interest calculator. You'll get all the calculator, then feed your figures there, then all the numbers will be generated. Because I usually receive tremendous calls, people asking me, hey Joseph, are you coming up to those figures? The math is not mathing up. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is now, if you channel this 1,200 each and every month, therefore it means, guess what happens now? Instead of having your 9.5 years or say 10 years, guess what happens? You have the period, it becomes all the way to 5 years. Okay, it's true. By the way, it's true. So because you say 1,200 multiplied by 12, you get what? Is it 144? So it would be like 14,400 or something of sort at the end of the year. So if you were to channel this and multiply this by 5 and also consider the compounding interest, guess what happens? The period is not now, it's no longer now 9.5 years, it becomes to 5 years. So guess what now? This is what we can do right now. If you have 10,000 somewhere, you put it in a money market fund, which is giving you a flat rate of 10%. Say most of the money market fund right now, they're above 10% in Kenya. So now say, I'm saying 10% that regard that, hey, they take the 4% for the management fee, what have you, the taxes and what. Now they leave you with your clean 10%. So if you can get a gig that is paying you more than this, well and good. By the way, circles do give more than this, so you can go the circles route and you can be able to invest and do something for your life. Okay, now point is this. Now if you take that 10K, put it in that investment, maybe it in a circle and put it in a money market fund in a period of, and then be pumping in 40 shillings a day, that is 1,200. And these are some of the targets that you can actually take in this 2024. By the time you're clocking the 5th year, you have your clean, by the way, it's not even 100,000. Guess what you'll be having? You'll be having yourself of 104,000. Okay, now that's the longer route. Let's go to the shorter one. Okay, that was the investment method. Now let's go to the business method. Now, what is business method, and what exactly can you actually do? And now, if you guys you're out here and you're watching me and you have a little bit of a risk appetite, now this is what your point. Now, say this is your 10,000 Kenyan shillings you have here. Now, this we call it now. It's no longer like a saving. Now it's now called a what? A capital. Why is it a capital? It's a capital in the sense that you were intending to invest it. Or start a business, should I say. Now, set up a business. And by the way, if you can just close your eyes and ask yourself, how many business can you actually start with 10,000? It doesn't have to be a complicated one. You can start some chapati making, in a where you come from. You can do some fruits making. And by the way, 10,000 is quite way a lot of money. And by the way, this one, I'm not advising you to go and rent a house. Just do it in an open place, okay? Buy yourself an umbrella. Right now, as we speak, it's quite humid, the temperature is quite high. So buy yourself an umbrella, buy yourself some crates and trays where you can actually position your fruits and what have you. You can do so the vegetables are early in the morning, rather in the evening. You can also do some, some milk selling and all those just get a gig in your locality. Now, what makes you start what you can actually do so with 10,000 is dictated not by you, not by your passion, it's dictated by what surrounds you. I hope I'm making sense on that, okay? And this is how I want to make it as easy as possible. Okay. Now, with 10,000 Kenyan shillings in terms of you putting it out there in a business, and this is what the target I want you to do. Instead of taking this money and putting in a money market fund like you did initially, I want you to actually, out of the business that you're going to start with this 10K, I want you to set aside something like, sort of something like 100 Kenyan shillings, or maybe you can set aside 150 Kenyan shillings, 150 Kenya shillings each and every day. So if you were to set aside 150 Kenyan shillings each and every day, guess what happens? All right, at the end of the month, you have what? You have your 4,500. Guess what? The month 2, you have your 9,000. Right, in the month 3, you're talking about what? You're talking about sort of 13,000 or something, or sort of 13K and above. So guess what happens? In the third month, you have actually done what? You've recouped back your investment. And now this money, which is 150K, pick a money market fund. And by the way, again, I repeat, this is what you do. You take this 150 Kenyan shillings each and every day. We do have some money market fund you can start with as low as 100 Kenyan shillings. And this one actually fits the business people. I know if you're a lady and you're watching this this from Kenya, I know you usually have these come together sort of groups or something of sort, and maybe you don't get a lot of money in a day. Some of you maybe are getting paid 450 Kenyan shillings a day, and then this 450, you say maybe 100 is your transport, and then 200 maybe is what you eat, and then the rest, like 150 Kenyan shillings, this is what you put towards, you people call it a group, okay? Now, see, instead of you guys taking this 150, sharing among it yourself, I don't know, whatever. That's an old-fashioned way. You can actually be taking this 150, channel it towards a money market fund each and every day. At the evening, you get your 150, channel it to a money market fund. At the evening, get your 150 to a money market fund, to a money market fund. Each and every time you do exactly that, guess what happens? At the end of the month, you have your 4,500. And I am telling you, by the period of 2.5 years, let's call it even 3 years. In a period of 3 years, guess what happens? You have actually 10x'd your 10,000 Kenyan shillings. I know this sounds like, really? Yeah, really, it's true. By the way, you can manage to get this 100,000 way before. Actually, it wouldn't even be 100,000. It would be around 109,000. It would be around 109,500 and something, point something, whatever there. Okay, I did the mathematics. You can always confirm whatever I usually say out there. So if you can actually do exactly that, and by the way, this can be so enticing if you get a money market fund that is paying you above 10%. That will be the most important things that you can ever have. Okay, but again, don't be lured by the big percentages. Look at the stability of a given company, because hey, you would rather be sure that you'll get your your 10% rather than a promised 13%. That's what I always tell people. Now, see what happens now. See, if you channel this money, see now, whatever you're at the end of the day, sort of, you're using an investment way to accumulate your money, or to accumulate your money, but the vehicle that you're using are different. See, here you're using the business route where you just want to generate 150 Kenyan shillings. Come on, let me ask a very simple question, okay? You have your 10,000 as a capital, and I tell you, if I give you 10,000 today, will you be able to manage or to generate 150 Kenyan shillings each and every day? Will you be able to do exactly that? By the way, 150 Kenyan shillings, this is less than $1. True. I'm serious. True. Right now, dollar is around 160. So this is less than $1. So are you able to generate these 150 shillings per day and then channel it towards a money market fund? Then give yourself a patience of 3 years. You have your 100,000. Then guess what happens? If this is working, this is now a mistake that people do. So if this is working, it's only that you do not have enough capital. Now you can actually pump in the 10x amount towards this specific area. And guess what happens? You can actually, if you have 10x, you can 10x this. Well, I know that sounds more of like cross multiplication, and sometimes I know it doesn't work. But anyway, it is what it is. Obviously, if you were to channel in more money, definitely you won't get your 150 Kenyan shillings. You'll get more than this. Then repeat the process. You do the same, you get amount of money, then repeat the process, then repeat the process. That is exactly how you do it. And by the time you're talking about the 15 years from today, DM, you already have a big business. You already have an investment. That's how you grow yourself. So do not despise this amount of money. It's a money that can actually take you all the way to growth and development as far as your life is concerned. That is exactly how we do it. It is not rocket science kind of a thing. And I know what you're thinking right now. Hey, Joseph, sounds easier said than done. Absolutely. It is easier said than done. I didn't promise that it is easier done than said. That's a fact. It needs you to be out there, be outgoing, have the discipline, consistency, sacrifice for you to achieve all these kind of things. In anything that you do in this life, and by the way, let me ask a question. Would you admire the majority or would you admire the minority? definitely you would admire the minority, because minority carry the day in terms of the investment, in terms of the wealth and all those kind of things. So if you want to succeed in life, it has the simplest formula. Just check what the majority are doing. Just don't do it. Do it or do the opposite in regard to your self-growth. And that is exactly how you realize growth in your life. That marks the end of my video. If you're first time watching me, I'm Joseph, talk about money, investment, anything related to that. If that's a cup of your coffee, then consider calling this place a home. And how do you exactly do that? By just hitting that like button and also subscribing. Down below there is a small button written subscribe, and also don't forget to comment down below. Tell me what you think. What exactly did you do? Have you ever been in this situation, or are you in this situation, and how is it taking you, so that at least we can make this place a home where we come, and help each other in terms of investments and the growth. For now, it's a goodbye, and see you in the next one.